why should he take Sergio's seat? He literally has only been here for 3 weeks. He's put the car in the wall, I think, 3 times. Like, it's just too much pressure. Like, I don't understand how they, like every other sport, you have your rookies come in, but the vets are still the ones making the plays and doing all the things. And, you have a chance to kind of like get acclimated in the shadows, so to speak. They don't do that. Like, they have these rookies come in and they act like it's the second coming of, Max Verstappen or the second coming of Lewis Hamilton. I love to check out what the guys are wearing. So I'm going to cut in some of their fashions. Yuki was definitely like bringing the funk, bringing the noise. Lewis, of course, always is gonna, if he don't do nothing else, he will bring some fashion. And then you had George, our race winner, who was, doing his normal. He's really leaning into the Tommy Hilfiger preppy, UK boy look, which it works for him because George looks like a model anyway. Like if his F1 career ever didn't work out, he could totally be a model and do well. Hey guys, it's Kia coming back at you with some newbie notes about the Vegas F1 race. You may get some sidelong commentary from my 1-year-old co-host, but he has lots to say. He enjoyed the race too. Being America-based, I always have wanted to go to all of the North American races. So this year we went to Miami in 2025. I hope to go to Austin in October. And then, the Vegas race is only 2 years old. So one of my girlfriends is also very into F1. And she had said that last year she looked into the packages and they were starting at like $25,000. And then I heard before this race that like weeks out, so maybe like 3 weeks out, that they weren't really sold out. Like the tickets were not moving. And I think people were really burned from the year before. Like, for $25,000, you can go to Silverstone. You could get a VIP hospitality package there. You could roam the whole UK countryside. You could go visit Downton Abbey, which is, I'm obsessed with Downton Abbey, so that's something that I want to do. $25,000 to go to Vegas, and then that be your only activity, not even like going to see, your favorite artist in residency. That just makes no sense to me. So I don't know that I'll ever get to a Vegas race. Also, too, it was interesting to me that they just kept complaining about it being cold. And I was like, now most of these people are from Europe. It's always chilly in Europe. Like, it's chilly in the UK for the Silverstone race, and that's what, July. That's like the hottest month of the summer. Well, August is. But that was interesting that everyone was just, kind of, moaning about how cold they were. But it's a desert. So, like you get really warm days and you get chillier nights. But I don't even know if I like the look of the track. I like at the other races where you can just kind of roll up, if you have a GA ticket and you don't have a official seat, you can just roll up to different parts of the track and you can, see the cars up close, rolling around. And it didn't seem like that was really the case in Vegas. Like if you didn't have a ticket, for like a grandstand or, a $25,000 hospitality seat, like you couldn't just roll up and, see the cars rolling by that well. So that would kind of turn me off. And then, because everything happens at night, there's not like the daytime fun activations. And I mean, there's lots of activations, within the paddock. I don't know what they had outside of the paddock. But at these other races, all the different liquor brands are there. There's so many different food brands. And it's more like going to like a daytime festival or something. That just happens to have like great entertainment, great food. And then if you want to do like a hospitality package on top of that, which is what I did for Miami, you can. And so like I bought a package that took us into the stadium, and it was like a basic package. I think it was like an $800 add-on. But we could go into the stadium, use like the nice restrooms. There was, free Ferrari champagne and alcohol and, the food you had to pay for, but like, the drinks were free, and it was great. I mean, it was worth it because Miami was very hot. So yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of torn. I love Vegas just as an American city. It's one of my favorite places to go for, parties. Like I lived in LA for a long time, and the clubs in LA are so dead. But when you go to Vegas, people actually dance and they don't care because, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So no one's judging you for dancing on the floor and having a good time. Whereas in Los Angeles, people are kind of looking at you like you're crazy because you want to do a two-step. So I love Vegas for that. And then I love going to concerts. I work in the music industry. So Vegas is a great place to see live shows and just go to festivals and stuff. So we'll see. I mean, I don't think Vegas would be one of the top races I go to. Like I definitely want to do Austin next, and then I want to go like to Europe somewhere, and then I would love to do like Mexico City. So we'll see. But anyway, it does seem that they scaled back on some of the pomp and pageantry. I was watching Kim Illman's video, and he was saying that like like all the fanfare that they did last year, where they brought the drivers up out of the risers, and it was like, oh, like the lights and stuff. They didn't do that again this year, which, I guess the drivers thought that was corny. I mean, it's Vegas, but they didn't do any of that. And he said a lot of the stuff that was on the paddock, like early in the week last year, they didn't do. And I guess also too, because they didn't have the coins, because people, like, if they bought tickets, they waited till the very last minute because they were like, I'm not paying all of this money. So, it'll be interesting to see like what happens next. It also seemed like the track just wasn't fun for the drivers to drive because it was very slippery and very like dusty and dirty. So, there's that. It doesn't seem like any of the drivers are very like crazy about the track. And it just seems like, Vegas is being done, I guess, just to satisfy the F1 folks, because nobody else seems to enjoy it. But anyway, so Kim Illman did have some great arrivals photos in terms of the fashion. I love to check out what the guys are wearing. So I'm going to cut in some of their fashions. Yuki was definitely like bringing the funk, bringing the noise. Lewis, of course, always is going to, if he don't do nothing else, he will bring some fashion. And then you had George, our race winner, who was, doing his normal, he's really leaning into the Tommy Hilfiger preppy, UK boy look, which it works for him because George looks like a model anyway. Like if his F1 career ever didn't work out, he could totally be a model and do well. So I haven't been chiming in, like this whole Toto has been in the news like for the last couple of weeks because of the comments that he's been making about Lewis and everybody having a shelf life and trying to extrapolate it out to like himself, and working in the field. And I haven't commented on it because I just know like this whole strife thing, this back and forth is going to keep going until the end. So there was really no point in commenting, but Toto kept talking and it just kept getting covered. And then he would come back and try to like clean up his comments and stuff. And yes, like Toto was trying to say that Lewis is washed. That's what he was really trying to say without saying it. And trying to explain away, some of how Lewis showed up in the car earlier in the season. But then, they had this race here. First of all, like, I guess the car does well in the cold. So they both qualified. Well, no, they didn't both qualify well. Lewis did well in the practice, right? And then when it came to quali, George hit pole and Lewis was like number 10. But Lewis drove his ass off. And ended up, on the podium. So props to Lewis. Lewis is not washed. Fred Vasseur knows it. Ferrari knows it. I think everyone on the grid knows it. You don't have any other drivers on the track being like, oh, Lewis is washed. I think there used to probably be some intimidation when Lewis would be breathing down a driver's neck. And now I don't think that exists as much anymore. I think you will see, like a Liam, go toe to toe with Lewis and be like, I'm not gonna defer to you just because you're, 7-time world champion. And they shouldn't, everybody is there to win. But the only person trying to intimate that Lewis is washed is Toto. So that's self-serving. And we really don't even have to spend a lot of time on it. We have just a couple races left, and then we'll be done with Toto forever. Again, my opinion is that Toto, being an owner in Mercedes, didn't want Lewis to be a part owner. I don't think Lewis was asking for ambassadorship. He's been the ambassador for Mercedes for all this time. Like, his name was synonymous with Mercedes. I think what he was asking for is ownership. Lewis has almost as much money as God, and because of the amount of money that they make. And I think he wanted to buy some fractional ownership and just be with, Mercedes for the rest of his life. And they told him no. Like, you're good to be out on the track for us. You are not us, and you will not be able to be part owner. And I think that's why he bounced over to Ferrari. And then apart from the fact that he just wants to add that to his resume before he leaves. So I think that's what that was about. And then you can just see, it's awkward, it's like, a couple getting divorced. It's awkward around the children until the thing is all said and done. But that's where we are. About the race, George, props to George. He did race well. He started off well, and he continued in the way that he meant to go, and he won. And props to him. Lewis raced his ass off. Lewis was aggressively passing. He, pulled out his good driving, his good racecraft, and that paid off for him. And again, I don't know if it takes Toto talking greasy to give him that extra edge, because he has been sort of like in his head and a little like depressed, frankly. Like, you can tell like he's depressed sort of about how it seems as though he has performed this year. And I'm not trying to be the Lulu about it. I really do think that they have sabotaged him in order to give George a mental stability, and then also like a clear advantage. I think George is a good driver. I think he's a very good driver. I think he has more killer instinct than Lando does, even though Lando might be a better driver. But George is not afraid to get in the fray, right? He has that element of crazy that I think you need to really win. Max certainly has it in spades, and Lewis has it. Lewis is a very crafty driver. So, I'm not trying to take anything away from George. Generally I like George. I just don't like George as Lewis's teammate, because in George's desperation to prove that he's better than Lewis, he always ends up doing something dumb or dastardly. So anyway, they drove well. And then, of course, Max won the Drivers' Championship. So props to Max. He was able to do that in a Red Bull that was not what it was last year. And so apparently he did some popping off at the end of the race, which, talk your shit, Max. I'm not mad. So he popped off and had some things to say, and rightly so. And we'll see, what happens next year when Lewis is in a, God please, better car, and we have all these rookies in the field. We'll see if Mercedes is able to fix their car finally. We'll see, what happens when George is not able to look into Lewis's data anymore, and we'll see, what happens with the seats at Red Bull. The Colapinto thing. So here's the deal. I think Colapinto is great. I love that he came in aggressive, but he's young, and this, he came in to do what he had to do, but he's still trying to figure out, where the limit is. And that's natural. Like, anytime you do something new, that's what's going to happen. But I don't like the way that they push these people like, because he did well in 2 or 3 races, we have to all of a sudden put him in Sergio's seat. And honestly, like, Liam has been loyal, biding his time, waiting, and then when it was his time, he showed up. I think that Liam is the driver for Sergio's seat, and it would be no conversation about it for me. But Colapinto, how many more times is he gonna crash that car, and can they afford it? He needs more time, and I think they need to stop messing with his head and stop pushing that he should be in this seat, he should be that, and he's tried to tell them, like, I don't have any plans for next year, I'm just here trying to do my best. But, folks just want to talk and be in your ear, and it's a distraction. You can't even focus, and that's what happened. Then you put the car in the wall. So yeah, I don't like that. Like, why should he take Sergio's seat? He literally has only been here for 3 weeks. He's put the car in the wall, I think, 3 times. Like, that's just too much pressure. Like, I don't understand how they, like every other sport, you have your rookies come in, but the vets are still the ones making the plays and doing all the things. And, you have a chance to kind of like get acclimated in the shadows, so to speak. They don't do that. Like, they have these rookies come in and they act like it's the second coming of, Max Verstappen or the second coming of Lewis Hamilton. And it's not. Like, they literally have had 3 races. Literally. So it's just weird. Like, that's a weird thing in F1 to me that I don't really see in other sports. But anywho, as far as I'm concerned, Liam is the man for the job. If Sergio is to be replaced, which we don't even know if that's the case. But, Liam is always ready for prime time. Every time he gets a chance at F1, he nails it or does as well as he can with the car he has. And he's been loyal to Red Bull. So I don't know why, the minute Liam would act like he's going somewhere else, all of a sudden he would have a seat, Sergio's seat. But whatever. It's a lot of foolishness. You can tell, like, there's a lot of rabbit brains in some of these pockets because they just... someone has like one good race and they just hop over to that person. It's like, you have any discernment or just any patience at all to watch somebody develop? Anyway, so that's all I have to say about this race. It was, quick and dirty, but, great because at least Lewis made podium. We had something to celebrate. I cannot wait for Drive to Survive. This is going to be the greatest season of Drive to Survive yet because of the amount of drama that we've had this year. Like, oh my God, it's been so drama filled. And God only knows what the folks were saying on camera in their confessionals. So I cannot wait, honey. The beginning of next year is going to be mighty good. So anyway, I hope you all are well. And I will see you guys for the next race. Peace.